Hello, everybody, and welcome to elPablo FC once again. Real Madrid 2, Barcelona 1 at the Santiago Bernabéu. Barcelona, with regards to the game, came in really like as the favorite because they've been beating Real Madrid in the last couple of games. And guess what? Mbappé and Bellingham strike as leaders extend La Liga advantage. Kylian Mbappé and Jude Bellingham were on target for against Barcelona in the Clásico as Real Madrid extended a lead at the top of the table. Obviously, the Clásico was not without its own issues and its own controversy, especially with VAR, with fights at the end of the game, and all of that. But Real Madrid extended a lead at the top of La Liga table with 5 points, with a clinical 2-1 victory over arch rivals Barcelona at the Santiago Bernabéu on Sunday. There was plenty of drama early on as Real Madrid were awarded a penalty just 4 minutes in with when Lamine Yamal slid in on Vinicius Jr., though the decision was overturned following a VR review. And yeah, pretty much. Lamine Yamal did not touch the ball, but then when they reviewed it, it felt like Vini kicked him from the angle that they reviewed it, but that's pretty critical. Kylian Mbappé also thought he had given Real Madrid the lead in the 12th minute when he saw his effort ruled out for offside before eventually netting the opener 10 minutes later. The Mbappe goal, the first one that was ruled out for offside, was a bomber of a shot. But, he finished calmly after, latching onto a sublime defense splitting pass from Jude Bellingham. Szczesny. I'm trying to get my words out. Szczesny. Szczesny was then forced into a brilliant reflex save to keep Los Blancos at bay as Dinhausen strode forward to poke an Eduardo Camavinga floated cross over the top of the defense. And in the end, to end action from then on, and Barcelona found it was an end-to-end action. What do you call it? It was an end-to-end action from then on. As Barcelona found the equalizer in the 38th minute from when Pedri played Marcus Rashford through. And I think it was the mistake from Arda that led to that. Arda was trying to control the ball in the middle of the park and Pedri poked the ball. Pedri poked the ball and it fell in the path of Rashford. Rashford poked it back to Pedri and Pedri found Rashford in a through ball on the left side of the Real Madrid 18-yard and he squared it to the middle. And then it was Fermín López, who thumped home from Rashford's from the center. But parity did not last long as Jude Bellingham restored Real Madrid's lead on the stroke of halftime. Vini also raced down the wing and clipped a looping cross, to the back post where Eder Militao nodded back across goal, and Dinhausen also jumped high to get it and he didn't, and then it fell straight into Jude Bellingham's feet, who just tapped it in from close range. Los Blancos were also then handed a golden chance to put the game to bed as Eric Garcia was penalized for a handball inside the box 7 minutes into the second half, but Mbappe failed to dispatch the spot kick as Szczesny made a splendid top corner save. Now, in truth, when you look at the penalty, it felt like it was a controversial issue. But when you look at the way his hand moved, like the Barcelona player's hand moved up, that's Eric Garcia, moved up you would tell that it was in the moment that he reacted, right? Because he was given a handball and it was a penalty. Now, Real Madrid continued to dictate play and thought that they had a third one when Jude Bellingham finished coolly again, but obviously the flag was raised offside. That was from the assist from Brahim Diaz. Tensions also flared late on as Pedri was shown a second yellow card deep into stoppage time to be for a reckless slide on Aurelian Tchouameni. And Real Madrid comfortably, managed to manage the closing stages to secure the win, remaining top of La Liga on 27 points. And they're top of the league in top 5 leagues. Second placed to 17 points, 5 points ahead of second placed Barcelona. So 27 to 22. So if we're going to talk about who was shining the most in that game was Kylian Mbappé. Next is Vinny, and the next is Jude Bellingham. Mbappé shines at Real Madrid as Real Madrid create 5-point cushion after seeing Real Madrid lose all 4 meetings with Barcelona last season. That is like, it was critical. Like, even when they went to a neutral ground, they still lost. Xabi Alonso will be thrilled to have marked his first Clásico in charge with a statement win. Indeed, Madrid were dominant throughout on Sunday, producing an impressive 3.48 expected goals compared to Barcelona's paltry 0.97 expected goals. Mbappé, meanwhile, continued his remarkable record against Barcelona. He became just the 3rd player to score in 4 consecutive El Clásico fixtures across all competitions in the 21st century. 6 goals, joining Ronaldinho in 2004 to 2006 with 4 matches and 5 goals, and then Cristiano Ronaldo in 2012, 6 matches, 7 goals. So Kylian Mbappé has joined elite company with 6 goals in successive El Clásico matches. Now, looking at the game, you could tell, Real Madrid were very dominant. They were annoyed, and the game was not without controversy. You think about the session with Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal coming to talk about stuff pre-game and all the issues that went on, and then he goes on to say stuff, and then, I'm trying to even get like some of the things that were said even after the game. Most of the Real Madrid players, I think they must have seen what Lamine Yamal said, basically, just before the game, and they must have that must have fired them up to the highest level, such that Vinny Jr. also said to Yamal, like, you talk much. Yamal, rather, I say Yamal. He said to Yamal, you talk too much, talk now. And Yamal said, you lost the Ballon d'Or for the same reason. I'm like, bro, always in the media. Before the final with Portugal, he spoke. Before France, he spoke. He's always speaking. Bro, you're still young. You're a teenager. You don't need to be getting yourself involved in all of this. Vinny says, I have a message. This was what he said. I have a message for all the Madridistas, especially those who came to the Bernabéu and supported us passionately. This is how the Clásico is. This is how the Clásico is. Well, this is the Gen Z El Clásico, bro. Like, if you think about like the old El Clásico before now, like in the time of Figo, and the time of Ronaldinho, and then you have from the Figo Ronaldinho era and Zidane era as well to the Ronaldo Messi era. After that, it seemed like there was no other like person who can create the rivalry. And then obviously Lamine Yamal comes in and decides to want to create controversy, making statements before the match, and then obviously saying, "Oh, I did it last year. I'm gonna come and do it again." And again, I said this: there is nothing bad in being humble and just like let the ball do the talking on the field, right? Vinny just says this is how the Clásico is. There are many things happening on and off the pitch. We try to maintain balance, but that's not always possible. We didn't want to offend anyone, neither the young players nor the fans. We know that when we step onto the pitch, we have to play our role, and that is how it was today. Hala Madrid. So basically, sounding like a mature statement he made, and all of that. Pedri and Barcelona players were asking for a red card for Jude Bellingham, and Jude Bellingham says not even with Negreira. Context: Barcelona is the only team in Spain under investigation for paying millions to ex-VP of referees committee Jose Negreira. Okay, Negreira. Negreira. Jose Negreira. Okay. Jose Negreira. Yeah. Not even with her, yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting. And that cold celebration from Jude Bellingham was epic. Basically just walking, not showing anything. And, yeah. Pedri asked for a red card to Jude Bellingham, and he replied, not even with Nigeria. right? Yeah. And he touched his face, and bro just went down. Like this guy's, bro, this guy's, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And Vinny, another talking point in that game. Okay, another talking point in that game was Carvajal. Carvajal was speaking to Lamine Yamal and saying, "You talk too much." Carvajal shakes Lamine Yamal's hand and walks away. The one who keeps talking, is Lamine. It's right there. That's Carvajal. Carvajal tells him about talking too much. And if it wasn't for the people who were in the stadium, no one would see this. Long live Spanish journalism. So this was basically Carvajal telling Lamine. So I think Carvajal telling Lamine Yamal, "You talk too much." Lamine Yamal says to someone else I think even to Carvajal, like, let's go in the dressing room and dig it out, like fight it out or something. And I think Vinny also took it upon himself and took it on his head to try to fight for his team and stuff. So it was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting to see the chaos that happened. And yeah, it is what it is. And then someone also says that the post basically contains a fabricated. I mean, one of the posts about the conversations contains fabricated quote, but it is what it is. I mean, they must have said things. Not everybody will see things. Xabi Alonso and Vini's reaction to the change. This is what because Vini was annoyed, visibly annoyed that he was being subbed off. But then Xabi Alonso reacted to the change, saying, "Let me focus on beautiful things, good things. We did great." And Vini was a big part of it. He did very well. And I can understand Vini getting really annoyed at being subbed off. But you have to think about it from perspective of, okay, he basically kind of was playing really well and was at the center of everything creative with Real Madrid on the day. And then eventually he got subbed off and Xabi Alonso, and then he got annoyed, visibly annoyed. So it was allowed for him to get annoyed. But on the other hand, he needs to understand that Xabi Alonso was taking him out of the heat of the conversation. But it didn't change. It didn't change at all because he just basically had to continue. So it was a good game to watch. It was very energetic and all. And then another standout player. I mean, I want to give credit. This is to Xabi Alonso for the kind of lineup that he used for that game. We have to look at it from that perspective. The lineup started with Courtois in net. Everybody really performed well. We're going to do, maybe for this game, just do a player rating for Real Madrid and for Barcelona quickly. Basically, Valverde, so it started Courtois in net, Valverde, Militao, Hausen, and Carreras. That's Fernandez, Carreras as a back four. Militao and Hausen in the back two, and then Valverde and Carreras right back and left back. And then in mid, he had Tchouaméni sit as a defensive midfielder. So 4-1-4-1. And then Vini on the left, Jude Bellingham on the right, Camavinga and Aragoulé in the middle. And then you have Mbappé. And then at some point, it switched to a 4-1-3-2. So more like Vini going with Mbappé together. And then the midfield kind of switched like that to the middle, where Aragoulé was in the middle, Camavinga was in the left, or Aragoulé was in the left, Camavinga was in the middle. And then you have Jude Bellingham on the right. You also had, on the Barcelona side, they started with Szczesny. They also had Kubasi, Eric Garcia, and then in the center back position, and then right back was Jules Koundé, left back was Balde, and then you had in the midfield, they started with the 4-2-3-1. It was De Jong, Frankie De Jong, and you had Pedri, and then you also had Rashford, Lopez, and Lamine Yamal as a 3, and then you had Varane as the center forward. And then if you want to go for rating, Real Madrid had a better rating compared to the Barcelona players. The only players that performed really well, Marcus Rashford got an assist, Frankie De Jong, Lopez, and Lamine Yamal all got ratings of 7 and above. While the rest in Barcelona team, Balde, Eric Garcia, Kobasi, Koundé, Pedri, and Varane all got ratings of 6 and above, and between 6 and 6.5. And then the subs, Ronald Araujo for Barcelona came in and got a rating of 6.5 and 6.3. This is according to FotMob. And then you have Mark Casado, who got a rating of 6.1. Obviously, Pedri got 6.3 because obviously he got a red card. And then for Real Madrid, the subs got 6.6. Rodrigo, Dani Carvajal got 6.2. Came in the 72nd minute, same as Rodrigo, 72nd minute. And then Brahim Diaz came in and got 6.3. And then the rest of the players, Courtois 6.9, Valverde 7.3, Militao 8.0, Hausen 7.4, Carrera 7.0, Tchouaméni 7.8, Jude Bellingham got an 8.3, Camavinga for playing really well and playing like he was playing career mode, 7.5. Aragulés 6.5, lost the chance that led to the goal, was subbed off in the 66th minute. And then we have Vini subbed up in the 72nd minute. I think in the 66th minute, it was Brahim Diaz came on for Aragulés, and then it pushed Jude Bellingham into the middle of the park, and then Brahim Diaz played as the right wing player. And then Vini gets a 7.2, and then Kylian Mbappé, who was my man of the match, gets a 7.7. But then, obviously, Kylian missed a penalty that he could have scored, but then, obviously, he still got a goal. He was disallowed a goal, scored a goal, missed a penalty, so it contained everything, right? Yeah, Andre Lunin got a red card on the bench, basically, the goalkeeper. And then Hansi Flick is suspended, he got a red card. And it is what it is. So it's a whole lot of things. Barcelona couldn't control themselves. There was a lot of back and forth and stuff. Obviously, Pedri is going to be missing the next game. And for Madrid, their next game is against Valencia, which happens on the 1st of November. And Barcelona, the next game is Elche, again, the 2nd of November. So Real Madrid have to win because obviously that's a game that really is important. And Valencia are not an easy team to crack, but it is what it is. So it is what it is. Yeah. So the next video you're going to be seeing is pretty much the preview of the review of the entire Premier League and the entire Spanish Liga. Well, I had to do this one because it was El Clásico and all that. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Continue to build the community together. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to all things Champions League, Premier League, and Spanish Liga for now. And we're going to be doing all sorts of analyses and breakdowns and stuff. So leave your comments in the comment section. What did you think about the game? And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye. And God bless.